We all know that Thanos is a huge contender against all superheroes, but when he finds all the Infinity Stones, he becomes so much more of a contender that he forces some of the most powerful superheroes in the cosmos into submission, and sometimes for good. This is the top 10 times Thanos embarrassed superheroes. At number 10, we have the time when Thanos turns Nova into literal Lego pieces. After Thanos faces off against a large group of heroes and starts picking them off one by one, it's finally the last straw for Nova, who tries to intervene and put a stop to Thanos' mayhem. Nova, being a younger superhero, he's bold enough to take a stab at Thanos himself. And don't get it twisted, Nova is actually quite a powerhouse, so readers might have expected him to at least make some kind of a dent on the Titan, but no, Thanos effortlessly stops Nova in his tracks and turns him into Lego pieces. And this is intentional, something that Thanos does to humiliate Nova. As he does what he does, he mutters, "Like a child's toy blocks," mocking Nova's age and lack of experience. Brutal. And the list gets worse. At number 9, we have the time when Thanos knocks out Captain Marvel. This event takes place in the MCU when Carol Danvers tries to intercept Thanos' effort to use the Infinity Gauntlet. With her incredible strength, she almost succeeds at putting a stop to him, and he might even be concerned at this moment himself, because if any hero is going to swoop in and stop him at this very point, it would be Captain Marvel. I mean, she can destroy whole alien spaceships by simply flying through them with her body, among so many other things. But right as Thanos is about to lose, he reinstates his supremacy by yanking out the Power Stone and using it to power up a superpowered punch and basically knocking out Carol cold. This is a serious disrespect to Captain Marvel's power and integrity. She simply just isn't used to being punched out like this, but in this instance, Thanos is an exception. Okay, at number 8 is when Thanos totally embarrasses Eitri by encasing his hands in metal. Unfortunately, what he does here goes quite beyond embarrassment and into tragedy, as he murders all of Nidavelir's people. Except for Eitri, of course. Now, I know Eitri isn't a superhero, but it still is a kick in the shins to Thor and the rest of the team, quite directly actually. You see, Eitri was supposed to craft Thor's hammer, which he was going to use to defeat Thanos, but instead, Thanos shows up early before the team can approach Eitri with the job and has the dwarf craft the Infinity Gauntlet instead, and then he traps his hands in metal. Not only that, but he kills all the other dwarves, leaving only the one that mattered to him. This is clearly an effort to humiliate Thor and his teammates by sort of saying, "Look, I'm always going to be one step ahead of you guys, and even though I could have killed Eitri as well, I decided to let him tell you how it all went down. Oh, and by the way, he's useless to you now as well because his hands are in metal." At number 7, we have the time when Thanos rips Vision's insides out. Now, Vision is basically the son of Ultron and a very powerful and influential counterpart to Thanos. His abilities are very extensive, allowing him to phase through matter with ease, for instance, and although he is able to phase through Thanos at first, catching him off guard and throwing him off balance, Thanos regains control of the situation. And in this fateful moment, he pulls Vision from inside his own body and holds him up by the throat. But that isn't it. He then uses the Infinity Gauntlet to reach inside the android's body and tear out all of his wiring, putting an end to his efforts for good. Okay, at number 6 is the time when Thanos kills Cyclops by suffocating him inside a clear box. This is a brutal end to Cyclops' legacy at the hands of Thanos. When the two of them are squaring off in a big battle along with the other X-Men, Cyclops has a moment where he gets the upper hand on Thanos, and as the leader of the X-Men, the reader is expecting at this point to possibly witness a victory at the hands of the good guys, because it isn't often that we see someone as decorated and influential as Cyclops losing a fight, let alone losing his own life. But the reader doesn't get what they want here, as Thanos creates a small clear box around Cyclops' head, which seems to be impenetrable by his laser vision blasts. Not only that, but Cyclops quickly starts losing air and suffocating in the little clear box. As Captain America rushes over, he realizes that it's too late by the time he gets over to Cyclops, and he dies. As humiliating of a defeat as it is, embarrassment was probably the last thing on anyone's mind. I would assume, sadness and tragedy came first. Still pretty embarrassing now. Okay, at number 5 is the time in Avengers Infinity War when Thanos knocks out the Hulk almost effortlessly. And what makes this one extra humiliating is that Thanos doesn't even have all the Infinity Stones yet. Right around this scene, Thanos has just acquired the Space Stone, but it wouldn't seem to most that this would be enough to beat the Hulk as badly as he does. He seems to be toying with the big green behemoth for a while before deciding he's ready to take the victory. So he just simply knocks out the Hulk. And listen, it may be easy to lose track of power hierarchies in Infinity War given all the unimaginable power coming from the Infinity Stones, as well as all the different superheroes and supervillains who come and go. But we can't forget that the Hulk is still a serious force that the Avengers themselves have had a very hard time containing in the past. So for Thanos to just toss him aside like this is definitely a major display of supreme power, and maybe a little embarrassing as well. At number 4 is when Thanos turns Wolverine's skeleton into rubber, basically. The image is too much to bear as we see Wolverine's body fall to the ground like an empty gym bag. And this comes right after Wolverine gets a big shot in on Thanos. During the onslaught to take down the Titan, Wolverine actually manages to stick his claws into Thanos' back. Silver Surfer even thinks this is the killing blow as they watch in anticipation, but much to everyone's surprise, or are they even surprised anymore? Thanos shrugs off the attack and jellifies Wolverine's otherwise indestructible adamantium skeleton. This moment is pivotal in the development of both Thanos and Wolverine's characters, considering it shows Thanos' sheer raw power and, on the other hand, totally diminishes Wolverine's long-hyped strength that seems to be near its peak during the Infinity War. I mean, who hasn't thought about how strong adamantium is and how much it'd take for somebody to get the upper hand on Wolverine? And then just to see him lying on the ground like that, still conscious but totally useless, it's too much. Next slide. At number 3 is when Thanos totally thwarts Quasar's attacks and turns him into ash with little to no effort. So in this same battle during the Infinity War, which makes up most of this list it seems, Quasar takes a shot at Thanos himself. When things are looking grim for the Allies, Quasar is called upon by Adam Warlock to support in the fight against Thanos. And Quasar comes at him with all the confidence and bravado that he's usually known for. And for good reason too, because after all, he is the one carrying the quantum bands, which have basically immeasurable power. So in this final chance to avenge Spider-Man, Thor, and Wolverine, among so many others, Quasar appears to be the one who can pull out a heroic win for the good guys. But once again, our hopes are all dashed as Thanos just explodes the quantum bands, rendering Quasar totally useless. As he falls to his knees defeated, Thanos simply blasts him with a good old beam of power and turns him into ash. Does anyone think this list is starting to sound more and more like that compilation in The Incredibles where we see all those heroes die because of their capes? It's just like pure confidence, absolutely annihilated by Thanos' might, and always in such an embarrassing way. At number 2 is when Thor is turned into glass and then shattered. This is a devastating defeat since Thor appears to be the Allies' last hope in defeating the newly godlike Thanos. After a harrowing battle where Thor even loses his hammer for a time and then nearly suffocates in space, it's finally down to a showdown between arguably the two most powerful forces on this battlefield. But as Thor is approaching Thanos with the energy as though he's gonna deliver the final blow, Thanos simply turns him into glass, and then without hesitation proceeds to smash the Thor statue into a million pieces. This obviously takes the God of Thunder out of the fight and basically out of reality. Such a build-up suggests a much more intricate and balanced face-off would occur, but even after all the preparation and anticipation, Thanos still proves that he's no one to be messed with, even by the God of Thunder. Pretty embarrassing if you ask me. You know, you gotta feel for the guy, or the millions of little pieces of the guy that's left. At number 1 is the time when Thanos breaks Captain America's neck with a backhanded slap to the face. This is by far one of the most humiliating defeats on the list, both because of the status and build-up of Captain America's character, and also the fact that it's basically just a slap that takes Cap out of commission. During what appears to be a final epic confrontation between Captain America and Thanos, Cap is throwing some epic monologues at the godly purple alien like, "As long as one man stands against you, you will never claim victory." But as this is going down, Thanos almost entirely misses the fact that Silver Surfer is flying towards him with the intention of snatching the Infinity Gauntlet off of his hand. And he almost does too. But Thanos, of course, becomes aware of it at the last moment and In his rage and possibly in a state of his own little bit of embarrassment, he turns and smacks Captain America in the face with a backhanded slap, breaking the hero's neck and killing him. It seems like a theme in these final encounters after Thanos retrieves all the Infinity Stones that he almost gets beaten, but then totally snaps back and shows the heroes who's boss. Snaps back. Get it? Snaps? I didn't even notice that until I said it. Okay guys, that's the list. Did you agree? Did you disagree? Did I miss anything? That's okay, leave it all in the comments below. I've been your host, Ben Ball. This is of course Top 10 Nerd. If you want, you can follow us on Facebook because we're more active there these days. Please enjoy social media responsibly, but you can also follow me on Instagram if you'd like. And as always, stay nerdy.